Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today, again, I'd like to present the Buddhist view about the corona pandemics, how we deal with this pandemics. So basically, like last time, I present the Buddhist view that we need to understand um, the Four Noble Truths that the Buddha laid out for us. The first noble truth, the truth of sufferance, regardless of who we are, regardless of gender, nationalities, and so forth. All of us go through the physical sufferings of being born, aging, illness, and death. And on the top of that, we have all kinds of mental afflictions like stress, anxiety, depressions, and so forth. So the next items the Buddha mentioned is that the cause of suffering. The Buddha point out that those physical and mental sufferings root in the anger, hatred, and stupidities. And again, uh, this kind of coronavirus pandemics mostly come from the act of human, uh, how we kill animals, how we spread this virus around. Uh, and of course, it's because of our reach for consuming them. And that's why we need to recognize why the suffering fall upon us. And the third approach, the Buddha said that no matter what happens, things will come and go. So there's the hope for us to overcome the sufferings, end the sufferings. And the last step, the Buddha provide what they call the Eightfold Paths, how to deal with those sufferings, how to overcome those suffering. So let me review this again. The Eightfold Paths the Buddha laid out for us, especially when we talk about how to deal with our uh, physical and mental illnesses. So here, the Buddha provides us the 8 steps or 8 techniques for us to deal with uh, those issues. Uh, so the first one in the wisdom groups include wise view, a proper view, wise intention, and in the ethical behavior, uh, the Buddha reminds us that we need to have wise speech, a proper speech, wise actions, wise livelihoods. And without my training, there's no way for us to keep up with our um, ethical behaviors or to maintain the wisdom. So that's why training the mind is so important. First, include the wise concentration, wise mindfulness, wise effort. So let us review one more times what's about the wise understand, what use of understanding apply. So here, like we presented before, as Buddhists, we need to understand the Four Noble Truths, the symptom, or the suffering, the cause, craving, ignorance, and the cure as things become an end, and the treatment That's Buddha provide these eight paths, and we need to understand about the karma, the cause and effect that we need to recognize the reason why we have those type of illnesses because of our individual karmas of consuming animals and rice. That's why we spread out the virus uh, from animals to human. And in this wise views or wide understanding, we need to recognize what we call the three characteristics of the system. The first one is anicca, that has been implement, impermanence, things, nothing lasts forever. And of course, we see that somehow last month we could not imagine that now many of us were locked down. We stay home, and more than half of the U.S. population now stay home because of this type of coronavirus. And lives turned upside down for some people. They lost their jobs, they closed their shop, they closed their companies, they could not go to school, they could not interact with other people, so they could not have enough money to pay for the mortgage, utilities, and so forth. So no one could expect this type of crisis happening. But again, life is moving, life is changing. Nothing lasts forever. So that's why we have to hope that one day we will overcome this type of illness. So the next one, the dukkha, that means sufferings that lead to physical, mental um, well-beings. And anatta, we discussed later on, that's one of the Buddhist views about life. There's no you self. So again, um, this is just the brief explanation about the wise view of wise understanding of life. Um, and with that, right views, right understanding of life, we have wise intention. We need to recognize that we won't let uh, the sensuality of pleasures uh, overpower our wisdom. Uh, so we need to develop what we call uh, patience and generosity so that we can be free from loss, from craving as a cause of sufferings. And we need to develop what we call loving kindness, goodwill, fairness, means compassion toward other people. Uh, we need to harbor that kind of harmlessness thought um, that we don't um, mm, dare to harm any sentient beings because as long as we harm them, that means we harm ourselves. So again, this is the right thought, a right intention, a wise intention we need to develop so that we can be free from loss, so that we can transform our craving, our selfish craving, so that we can free ourselves from hatred, from resentment. No matter what happening, we know that it's because of our due commerce, and we live in this kind of society, the modern age of the communications uh, and interaction with other human beings, and that's why somehow we are affected tremendously because of this kind of pandemic, coronavirus. And here we need to develop compassion so that we can be free from cruelty We need to be compassionate toward um, the one who got sick because of this coronavirus. We need to be compassionate toward the family members that have lost their family members because of these illnesses. And so again, with this wise intention, we uh, invoke compassion, love, and kindness, uh, so that we can um, mm, think about other people more than us, so that we uh, keep our thought uh, about them. And as long as we have that kind of compassion thought, love and kindness thought, eventually we will put in action. We will um, mm, step out to help them out. Uh, we need to recognize as everyone want to live, no one want to die, everyone want to be healthy, no one want to be ill, everyone want to get back to job, to an income to survive, and no one want um, to be laid off and so forth. So with this kind of understanding, uh, we uh, invoke our wise intention, our proper intention toward other people. So that's related to the wisdom part. That's related to the mind. Again, the mind is like the driver of a car. Um, if we have the proper mind, if we have the proper views of life, if we have the proper intention, eventually we will lead our speech and action. That's why here the next step is what we call wise speech. That we need to understand uh, mm, why we have to deal with this kind of coronavirus, and we understand that many people suffer because of this uh, pandemic. They were sick, they lost their jobs, they could not pay the bill, and so forth. So that's why, with that kind of understanding, with that kind of compassionate mind, we need to uh, take care of our speech. We need to be mindful how to communicate with other people. That's why we need to restrain ourselves from untruthfulness. That means we need to restrain ourselves from say something that's untruthful. We need to restrain ourselves from having gossip, slander, gossip about what happening nowadays. Um, um, mm, we need to uh, share the proper information about this type of uh, pandemic instead of spreading the untrue story. And we need to restrain ourselves from harsh, angry, and abusive speech uh, and idle chatter. So with that type of restraint, we would mm, stay away from lying. Uh, we could stay away from saying something that may create disharmony among other people. Uh, uh, we may restrain this type of harsh speech, abusive speech, so that we could um, uh, make friends with us, or we could share information properly with other people. So again, especially during this time of the year, there's many what we call fake news, um, untruthful news informations uh, on internet, in the social medias, and so forth. You need to recognize so that we can stay away from those things, and even we're not supposed to involve in those activities, so that we can reduce minimize the sufferings that we are dealing with and other people dealing with. So let me show you about this video clips that talk about the FBI warned the corona virus scam. There's many people who took advantage on this type of pandemics, and they trade the false informations and they scam people money. So let me show you this.
Scams. The FBI warning that scams and ripoffs are growing as criminals seek to exploit the panic and the fear that is out there, especially among the elderly. Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Deese has a closer look.
At Kennedy Airport this week, boxes of fake coronavirus test kits were seized. They were ready to be sold to unsuspecting families, perhaps even health clinics. Online, miracle coronavirus cures and instant vaccines are now being offered for sale. The FBI warning, these frauds are growing.
Someone may send you an email trying to get you to send money for something that in fact doesn't exist.
The FBI says there are also new widespread email malware schemes. Bad guys are out there trying to get you to click on links in order to try to steal your information. The FBI says these methods are not new, but using coronavirus fears to steal is.
The difference is the exploitation of COVID-19 and exploiting the panic that people are feeling.
The FBI says the elderly, already at higher risk of falling seriously ill from the virus, among the victims they're now hearing from. Some are clicking on fake email links, claiming new information or medical miracles.
When you're online and you want information, right now the most reliable source that we have is the CDC. So I would recommend going directly to the CDC website.
With the problem growing, the FBI says they want people to take cybersecurity seriously, and they're asking victims to please contact them so they can track these actors.
We are operating 24/7 as we always have, and working diligently to get to the bottom of who's behind the attacks.
Attacks that are becoming viral online. Jonathan.
So you see that many people they take advantage on this crisis and scam people money, especially the elderly people. They spread the news, the fake news that there's some kid that can help them to get through from this disease and so forth. That the FBI just warn us, and if we encounter any kind of scam like this, we need to report to the local authorities. And if the students they got the suspicious email, they need to be careful. Otherwise, those email can steal their personal informations and may create more difficulties, problems, and so forth for the victims. So again, we have to be truthful with whichever thing happen. If we have that kind of mind, we hurt ourselves and hurt other people because this time of year, most of us endure the similar sufferings of being locked down, of losing their jobs, close the shop, close the companies, stay home, and so forth. So with that understanding, we may generate compassion thought toward other people instead of harming them, instead of taking advantage on others, especially the elderly people. So that's why we need to put an action to have the right speech and right thought, even later on right action, so that we at least create some good karma for ourselves and others. Let me show you another video clips that relate to the Asian Americans facing racism nowadays? Okay.
Toward Asian Americans since the virus spread to the United States. WGN's Tanya Francisco is live from Chinatown with that story. Hi, Tanya.
Hey, Micah, there are no hard numbers to report just yet, but Asian American leaders have been hearing about it, and in some cases, they have been experiencing these incidents themselves. And now they are putting up political leaders on notice to do something about it. Racist attacks and harassment of Asians in America are on the rise. This was recorded by a San Diego Uber driver on March 14th.
I'm just really hurt. I don't take this lightly.
Closer to home, Mabel Bernard was harassed about 3 weeks ago at an Old Town restaurant.
I was having dinner by myself, minding my own business, and this guy at the bar, I'd never seen him before, and it looked like he had a bit too much to drink. He looked at me and said, "Do you have the Corona?" And I just kind of stared back at him and I said, "I'm having a wine."
Illinois State Representative has gotten similar reports.
I don't think that, it was helped by the fact that the president used the terminology Chinese virus.
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus.
That made it worse and, in a sense, gave some people permission to act in a racist manner.
The national chapter of OCA, Asian Pacific Advocates, along with dozens of other national human rights groups, including the NAACP and the Anti-Defamation League, have sent a letter to President Trump and other elected officials calling on them to publicly denounce the increase in racist attacks against Asian Americans. The incidents have given rise to a new campaign, #WashTheHate. A number of Asian American artists, leaders, and influencers have signed on. Bernard is the president of the Chicago chapter of OCA and a clinical psychologist. She worries these incidents may start getting out of hand.
Be prepared. It may or may not happen to you, but I think it's really important to know that it may. And have a game plan. If you're physically attacked,
Asian Americans are urged to report any acts of aggression to police. There are also different organizations that are documenting these acts, so you're asked to contact them. We have a list of them on our website at WGNTV.com.
You see that, so they say the hate crimes against the Asian American, right after President Trump, he labeled the coronavirus as the Chinese virus. And of course, he doesn't mean the Asian American people, but still some people take that word seriously and blame on the Asian American people to spread the virus. So again, we have to be careful in how we say things, especially when we are in the high positions of authorities. People trust us, people listen to us in the position of a president, prime minister, a teacher, doctor, parent, and so forth. So we have to be careful to choose the word wisely, understandably. Otherwise, we create the problems for ourselves and others. People may misunderstand the way we express. People may manipulate those misworded. So again, that's why the Buddha say that we need to watch out the way how we communicate with each other. So as long as we have the right thought or right intention, we would be mindful to restrain ourselves from say something that untruthful. As we may restrain ourselves from gossiping or having the abusive speech, hate speech toward other people. So that is why this right speech is so important for everyone of us to communicate with other people in the proper way, in the understandable way, in the harmonious way. The next step, the Buddha say that we need to have what they call wise action, or the proper action. Um, Again, due to the wisdom we have, so when we uh, develop our compassion thought, uh, loving kindness thought, we need to put in action. Of course, that action would be proper. So that's why here, in the wise action, the Buddha reminds us that we need to refrain ourselves from killing or harming other sentient beings. So again, we see why the coronavirus is spread everywhere. They start with the greedy mind of human that we kill animals for our food, and we spread the disease from animals to human, and now from human to human. So that's why it's much better if we could refrain from killing those little animals and be pure restaurants, so that we would mm, stay away from some type of illnesses like this type of illness. And so as long as we restrain ourselves from doing harm or harming other sentient beings, definitely we would mm, provide the trust uh, among ourselves, uh, and we would have compassion action toward other people, toward the sentient beings. That means we would not dare to harm them, because we know whenever we harm them, that means we harm ourselves. And we need to restrain ourselves from taking something that's not belong to us, like the scammer. They try to scam all people money. They try to send the malware, spyware, so that they can get personal information from other people uh, to steal uh, their bank account, money from the bank account, and so forth. And we need to restrain ourselves from harmful sexual acts. We need to restrain ourselves from taking intoxicant, so that we can cultivate mindfulness, compassion, wisdom. If we restrain ourselves from harmful sexual acts, that's the way we can nurture love, uh, leadership, beauty. If we can restrain ourselves from taking something that not belong to us, we would develop the generosity toward all beings. If we restrain ourselves from killing other sentient beings, we would develop the kind and be ready to serve for other sentient beings. So again, so these are uh, the steps that the Buddha advised us how to act, how to uh, uh, put in action when we have compassion, when we have loving kindness and understanding. So the next step, the Buddha remind us that we need to have what they call wise livelihood, a proper livelihood. So in this categories, the Buddha remind us that as much as we have right questions, um, we would not very much karma. But if we involve in any kind of these mm, wrong livelihood or harmful livelihood, uh, eventually it will come back to us. For example, if we are hunter, right, we go out to hunt deers, wild animals and so forth. Yeah, definitely we harm them. And again, we know that the Wuhan uh, market, that's where they trade the wild animals that have been captured and killed by human, by hunter. And as a Buddhist, the Buddha advises that we need to stay away from that type of action, that type of jobs, occupation, being hunter, being butcher, uh, fisherman too. Of course, for the people, mm, that's their job. But still, in Buddhist view, when we go out to fish, we kill uh, those fish, and of course, we take their life for our food uh, as normal. But still, in Buddhist view, that's the way we harm our uh, environment. That's the way we harm other sentient beings. We need to stay away. And the other one is that we need to stay away from trading poison, um, flesh, that's been human trafficking, arms, weapons, intoxicant, that's been illegal drugs, uh, uh, and so forth. So here's the items that the Buddha reminds us that we need to stay away, so that at least we keep our mind pure and action clean, so that we would not very much bad karma for ourselves. Uh, and of course, besides that, we need to stay away uh, from some occupation that may lead to receiving uh, uh, usury and so forth. And of course, later on, we talk about um, the issues of being soldier in Buddhist view. Since I don't have much time, uh, I will not talk about that much. I just want to scan over those information so that you can uh, have in mind about the Buddhist approach uh, when we deal with this type of issue or challenge. With um, that type of wise livelihood, that means we restrain or stay away from those harmful occupations. We uh, would rate a good karma for ourselves, because of course, as human, we need to work to earn income. We need to run business to survive. But still, the Buddha advises us to stay away from those harmful occupation. And next step, the Buddha mentioned that we need to have what they call wise effort, a proper effort. In general, the Buddha said that if we have not done any good deed yet, we have to do. If we are doing, if you, if we have done the good deed, we need to do more. And vice versa, if we have done the bad deeds, we need to stop now. If we have not done any kind of bad deeds, don't start it. So that in general, that is the meaning of wise effort. And another one that relates to the mind, especially nowadays, we know that there's many people, uh, they so stressed out, they so depressed, uh, mm, and so forth because of being locked down at home. And some of them may feel they are isolated uh, at home in the room. They cannot go out to do a shopping. They cannot go out to socialize with their friends and other people. They cannot go out to work and so forth. Uh, Many people they work for many years, even decades. Uh, so they get used of like a habitual patterns. But now suddenly because of coronavirus, and now we have to stay home, uh, and it's really scary. It's very stressful for many of us. So that's why mental uh, mm, stability is so important for us to have. That's why the Buddha provide some tools for how to deal with our mentality during this mm, lockdown. So before move on, let me show you another video clip that may relate to the uh, mm, mental stability uh, in this type of a year.
Changes happening as we overcome this pandemic, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, anxious, and stressed. So joining us now is board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Jessica Clemens. Dr. Clemens, thank you for being here. We know that social distancing can lead to fewer personal interactions, which can make it harder to control your stress, your emotions, your anxiety. So how do you help avoid these feelings at a time like this?
Absolutely. So to begin, this is a time where a lot of people are feeling anxiety. Quite frankly, I imagine most people are. Right? Forget the 40 million people who already experience anxiety disorders. So what I tell people in times like these is, especially with social distancing, to be creative about ways to remain engaged with people in their lives, right? So if you're at home because closed or you're working from home now, do things like FaceTime your family members. Make sure that you're checking in a very intentional way. You know, also check on your neighbors, doing things to remain engaged and not really overdoing it with the social distancing. You don't have to completely avoid anyone, obviously, unless you are quarantined, but it's going to be important to do that because, again, isolation can make one feel even more depressed, anxious, and continue to have those thoughts that are really hard to get out of a loop once you've started it.
When it comes to your setup at home, are there things you can do to make the environment more comforting?
Absolutely. So, you know, now that we're kind of going into spring, at least here in New York, one of the great things is that you can absolutely like engage, get that sunlight coming into your home, you know, try to do things to really get you know, change the environment in a way that you feel, you know, more calm, right? So if you have access to greenery, doing things like that, but also really using the space in a meaningful way. So doing things like yoga, exercising within the home, right? Really using what you have access to keep yourself active and motivated.
And then one of the symptoms of coronavirus is difficulty breathing, but that can also be a symptom of anxiety. So how do you tell the difference?
So I would tell people with anxiety, typically the only symptom that a person is experiencing is not just shortness of breath, right? So it typically is associated with things like having trouble feeling like your heart is racing, or feeling tremulous, or perhaps being brought on by an anxious thought. With coronavirus, shortness of breath is certainly a sign, but also it's typically associated with things like fever or cough, or being exposed to someone who is either infected with coronavirus or coming from a place that has already a pretty high rate. So I tell people, look, if you're feeling anxious and you suddenly can't catch your breath, try to take a breath. And if you find that relieves your symptoms, it probably is not coronavirus, but when in doubt, get professional attention.
And then we get questions by so many parents wondering, how do I talk to my kids about this?
So I think it's important to not lean towards trying to give them false hope, right? It's important to just be honest about what's happening, be honest about the fact that we're all trying to be protected, you know, safeguard ourselves, but also give them opportunities to focus on other things. So try to do things to keep them entertained, you know, play games, bring back some of the old school things like cooking together, you know, spending time together, but again, being very honest about what's happening and listening. Listening is it's going to be very important in that relationship with your child. Don't try to tell them how they should feel, but be open to what they share about the experience, right? It's tough to be, you know, out of school and you're expecting to spend time with your friends and now, you know, classes are canceled for the rest of the semester. So it's just important to really stay in tune and stay engaged with them and really be supportive during this time.
Great advice. Dr. Clemens, thanks for being on. We appreciate it.
Okay, so you see that because of this pandemic, many people so stressed out. They have all kind of anxiety. They have all kind of mental instability. So that's why we need to recognize this is it's normal, and if we know how to tackle this kind of mental fluctuation, instability, so it will be more peaceful and calm for us. Again, things go upside down for millions or billion people because somehow suddenly we working so many years now, we lost our job, we close our shop, and we get used to go to school, we get used of seeing our professor, teachers, friends at school. So suddenly now we stay home, uh, and many of us would think, oh, we don't have anything to do. So again, it's very stressful that we thought that we are isolated uh, by ourselves because of the outbreak. And so again, there's many ways for us to deal with our mentalities. Uh, of course, we can be creative at home. Like we may do some cooking. We may do gardening, especially the spring coming up. It's getting warm, and we may do drawing, play music, uh, mm, and so forth. So with those activities, it may keep us being busy. Of course, we can use our technology nowadays, like that doctor recommend. We use FaceTimes to talk or to keep in touch with our family members, our friends, and so forth. And of course, we can enjoy our times to listen to some Buddhist teachings, lecture, depend on how we like, uh, or we can share our thought in our journals and so forth. There's all kind of activities that we can do at home. Of course, sometimes uh, if we think in the positive way, this probably the chance for us to stay home uh, through many years of being busy uh, for working to earn money. So this is the time for us to have the chance to stay home with our family members. We spend time with our spouse, our children, our grandchildren, and so forth. Uh, Many of us before we so busy that we would not have much chance to stay close to our children, even our spouse too. So again, no matter what happened, if we have the powers to mind, we would take advantage on these situations to enjoy the present moment with our family members, to talk to them, to build up the strong relationship with them, to understand their views, or to resolve any hidden problems or conflicts that we may have among ourselves. So there's many types of activities that we can um, do during this time of the years. Of course, we don't know how long this type of lockdown would end, but still, we live with present moment, and of course, that is the collective karma that happened to our communities, our society, and our nation nowadays. So nothing can do. So mm, if we don't accept the situation, it's not easy for us to handle our mind. So that's why, besides those activities with ourselves and with other people, with other family members, mentally, the Buddhists provide us some what we call mental activities so that we can at least calm our mind. And there's two types of mental activities, or what we call meditations in Buddhist term, that we can do. The first one is what we call samatha, that means concentrations. We can focus our mind on our breath. Um, and the other one is what we call vipassana. Uh, Vipassana, that means we have to be mindful with things we are doing. For example, while we are cooking, we mindful of cooking. When we sweep on the floor, we are mindful with our sweeping, um, and so forth. So with those two uh, Buddhist mental trainings, it would help us to calm our mind. So before I end my present, presentation today, I just like to share with you a brief informations or techniques about uh, how to release our stress and anxiety by focusing on our breath. Again, so when we inhale and exhale, we should do in natural way, um, because our physical mechanism does that for us. We don't need to use any force. So when we inhale, exhale naturally, we relax our mind and body. Mm. And when we focus on our breath, the thought would not bother us. Of course, it's pretty hard, but eventually, the more we do, the easier for us to be focused. And no matter what happens, no matter what thought we have the anxious thought, angry thought, um, or anything that pop up in our mind. If we focus on the breath alone, those thoughts would not bother us. So that's why just spend a couple minutes. Just start with a minute to count breath. When we inhale, exhale, we count one. Inhale, exhale, count two. Inhale, exhale, count three, and so forth. That's the way we can release our stress. That's the way we can release our anxiety. That's the thing we can do with our mentality. That's the way we can remain peaceful and calm during this crisis. Again, let me sum up what I present in the last few weeks about the Buddhist views of this corona pandemic. That again, we need to recognize the sufferings. Um, that's why Buddha reminds us that as human, we have those kind of illnesses, um, aging and death. So we need to recognize and accept. And of course, besides that, we have the mental afflictions. But again, because of those mental afflictions and even the physical sufferings, because of greed, hatred, and ignorance, and the Buddha provide us the eight paths, the eight techniques, how to tackle them, how to deal with them, and that's include the wisdom, the morality, and the mind training. The wisdom part, we have to develop the right views of life, understanding of cause and effect, and the right intention to develop loving kindness, compassion, and so forth toward other people. And we need to abide with our moral obligation to have right speech, right action, um, mm, and right livelihood. And of course, in order to do that, it's not easy. We need to train our mind in that path. That's why we will provide us the practice of meditations, so that we can calm our mind, and we can remain peaceful. As much am I peaceful, I have to be peaceful. As much am I in chaos or confusion, yes, we would raise chaos for our life. Again, let me sum up uh, the Buddhist view about this corona pandemic, in the sense that we need to take care of our mentality, um, especially during this time of year, by put more practice, uh, uh, by practicing meditation to calm our mind, by to understanding the cause and effect, by restraining ourselves from doing bad karmas, and by stepping out to help other people, especially the one who are sick, or to comfort the family members that or the other people that have people in their family to pass away because of this type of virus. Again, uh, mm, let me end our presentation here today, and I wish that everyone stay safe and healthy. Namo Shaka Muni Buddha.